Hi everyone, welcome to PT Time with Tim. I'm Dr. Tim, a licensed physical therapist. Today I will be teaching you the best 5 stretches to reducing low back pain. But first, let me provide you with this quick medical disclaimer. So the first thing that I want you to understand about back pain is that from research we know 3 things. Most people will have back pain some point in time in their life. There's a natural ebb and flow of chronic back pain, which means that it kind of comes and goes throughout your life. And so you'll notice times where you have more back pain, and then after 2 or 3 months, it kind of goes away, and then it kind of comes back. So we know that's number 2. And then number 3 is that back pain gets better with exercise. So if you're finding yourself, or you're having a lot of tightness or stiffness, say you're working from home now because of COVID-19, and you're standing or you're sitting a lot and your back is really tight, really stiff. You wake up in the morning, you're sitting up at the edge of your bed and you're feeling really tight or stiff. These stretches are going to be perfect for you. So our first stretch today is the side bend QL stretch. All right, and the QL stands for quadratus lumborum, which is a muscle that's on both sides of the spine. I call it like the flank muscle. They kind of look like this on both sides of the spine, and they basically do lateral flexion for the most part. So in order to stretch this muscle, we're going to sit at the edge of a table or your bed in the morning, and you're going to put both hands to your sides, and then you're going to kind of shift your weight onto one side of your buttock and drive that hip into the table. Then you're going to do a side bend stretch to the opposite direction. So you can see I'm creating like this C curve, right? And so I'm driving my outer hip down, I'm reaching over, and so right now I'm feeling more of kind of a lat oblique stretch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate just a little bit forward, side bend a little more, and there I've got a stretch right out here. So right on your side, and so that's on the back side here. And so that's that QL that we're looking for. So we're going to hold that stretch for about 10 or 15 seconds. And then you'll relax. And then I'll have you do the stretch to the opposite side. So you're going to, again, drive the outer hip down into the table, side bend, and then slight rotation until you feel that stretch kind of on the back outer side of your low back. Again, holding 10 to 15 seconds. So you can go back and forth. I usually say 5 times to each side, and that should give you a good stretch to the QLs. Our next low back stretch is going to be lying supine, so I asked for some help. So my wife, Helen, has graciously agreed to help us with this one. So Helen, do you mind going and lying on your back on the table? This exercise or this stretch is called supine dual knee to chest. So lying supine just means lying on your back. And then the dual knee to chest part is she's going to bend both knees up, and then she's going to lift both legs up. She's going to grab around both knees with both of her hands, just like so. And now I always instruct the person to make sure your legs are completely relaxed. And so the legs are relaxed and the arms are going to do all the work. She's going to draw both knees in towards her chest until she feels a slight rounding in the low back. So you're going to feel a slight low back stretch here. You pause for 3 to 5 seconds in that little bit of stretch, and then you relax the knees back out to that starting position, and then you repeat. So this is a really great kind of warm-up stretch to start out with, 3 to 5 second hold, and you do that 10 to 15 times in a row.
Feels really good.
It does feel really good.
I have low back pain, so.
There you go. And this is one of my favorites as well. So if you can picture it, the spine, especially that lumbar spine, the lower spine, as those knees come in, starts to round up. So you're actually getting some stretch down where the low back muscles insert into the pelvis. So 3 to 5 second holds, 10 to 15 repetitions. Our next low back stretch is going to be lying supine again. So I'm going to ask Helen to lie on her back. So this stretch slash exercise is kind of a mix between the two, is called lumbar rocking. So I'm going to have her arms lying next to her sides, both knees are bent, and you're going to put both feet and knees together, okay? So make sure both feet and knees are touching. Now, What you're trying to do is keep both shoulders down against the table or your bed. You're going to keep it both shoulders down, and you're going to rock both knees to one side, and you're going to go as far as you can, whatever feels good to you, because what you're going to start to do is feel a stretch on the outside here of the hip to the low back. And so you're going to pause there 3 to 5 seconds in that little stretch position. Then you're going to rock all the way to the other side. And again, so on this one is a really good shot. She's going to feel a stretch in the outer hip wrapping around to the low back. Pausing 3 to 5 seconds. This is another really great warm-up stretch. And you do that back and forth 10 to 15 times each direction. And that's lumbar rocking. The next stretch is a side-lying lumbar rotation stretch. So I'll ask Helen to lie on her side. Yeah. And then what you're going to do is the bottom leg is going to stay straight. You're going to take the top leg, you're going to bend it, and hook your foot behind your knee. So this top leg, the foot is hooking behind the knee. She's going to, at the same time, take this bottom hand, and she's going to place it and hold this knee down. So if you're doing this, it's easiest done on the floor, but you can also do it in your bed. So you're going to hold the knee down against the table or the floor.
Do I rest my head?
Yeah, you can just relax your head. And then you're going to take the opposite hand and you're going to reach towards the sky. Now, you want to look at your hand because your head drives your chest, okay? So wherever your eyes go, wherever your head goes, your body follows. So you want to look at your hand. And then what I'm going to have her do is just relax and let gravity rotate her chest the opposite direction as if you're trying to take that shoulder towards the floor or the table. And so as gravity's kind of pulling that arm down, she's breathing out, she's relaxing with each breath, just taking nice, deep, slow breaths. And where you're going to feel the stretch is again kind of out here on the outer low back side with that rotation. So this is a stretch where you hold it for about a minute. That 30 seconds to a minute is really good because it gives you that time to relax with it. So this is absolutely one of my most favorite stretches. I love it. It feels really good. Most people probably aren't going to be as flexible as her in the beginning, which is totally fine. But you just, you do what you can, do what feels good to you. And after 30 seconds or a minute, go ahead and come out of that one. And you can just go ahead and relax. And so you'll do that 2 times, but to both directions. So the other key thing is make sure that you hold the knee down, touching the floor, because as you get better at doing this stretch, it gives you a really good idea of how much better you're getting or how much more flexible you're getting, because it kind of gives you a marker for how much rotation you're actually able to achieve. So if you keep the knee always touching the ground with that rotation, you'll be able to measure the amount of improvement that you're making. So I really think it's good feedback for you. Our number 1 stretch for back pain relief is the bent over side bend stretch. And so for this stretch, you're going to get a nice wide stance, wider than hip width apart. You're going to bend forward at the waist, but you can put your hands on your thighs so that it off-weights your chest a little bit, so there's not as much back stress. So make sure you have your hands resting on your thighs. And then you're going to side bend to one side. So I always say, like, I'm trying to look behind me almost. So I'm going to bring my opposite hand to that same side knee. So I've got both hands on the same knee now. And I'm looking behind me, and what I'm doing with my opposite hip is I'm trying to drive my opposite hip back towards the wall again, so I'm getting the C curve. So I'm looking behind me at the same time driving this opposite hip back, and where I feel the stretch is right here. It's that QL again that we talked about earlier. And so right on the side of my low back, I feel a good stretch there, and I'm going to hold that for about 5 to 10 seconds. And then I'm going to come back to neutral. I'm going to switch sides. Looking behind me, again, driving the opposite hip back towards the wall, feeling a really good stretch here. Now, there are a couple of modifications that you can do to really dial in the stretch. So what you do is when you're down and you're wrapping your hand over to the same side that you're going to stretch to, you can either bend down a little bit more to help increase the feeling of the stretch there, or you can even rotate a little bit more. So there's a couple of little modifications there. You bend down a little bit further, or maybe you don't bend down as much. Maybe you're feeling more of a hamstring stretch. You're not getting as much of a back stretch. In that case, you would come up a little bit. So you just got to kind of feel it out and just kind of dial it in as you're doing it so that you feel it in the right area. So get up in the morning, do your stretches, go throughout your day, stretch again before you go to bed sometime in the evening. And as you continue this program, you'll notice that your range of motion should improve and that low back pain should get better with those stretches. This is not a no pain, no gain type deal. So take it easy, mild intensity stretching only in the beginning. So go check out my other videos and continue on your pathway to living a healthy and active lifestyle. Thanks for stopping by PT Time with Tim. Does slide.